Good morning. Good morning, October. How are you doing? I had such a nice weekend. In all the years that I've attended Lambtown, this was the most relaxing, enjoyable, and time management wise, superb. I had an amazing weekend in very good company. Thank you for visiting with me. Or if you haven't seen them, I did Saturday and Sunday a day behind. It just works better with editing if I can kind of space it out a little bit. I think it's a lot of fun. It's excitement. And there is so much information, product, so many individual people that you're meeting and socializing with, that when it comes to these crawls, festivals, fibery get-togethers where there's just a lot going on, I think it made a really big difference for me to take a nice little break, to section off the day, realize how many days you're going to have and section it off so that you're like rejuvenating yourself for the second wind of the next part of the day. Lambtown is in Dixon, California. They have an amazing lawn area all the way through the whole fairgrounds. So everything that's broken up and set up, it is extremely easy to go out, get your lawn chairs, your lunch, and everything else, bring it back in, sit down, relax for a while, rejuvenate, recuperate, gather up all your oomph for the second time around. Made a really big difference this year. I thoroughly enjoyed the visiting, the quality time. The first day was amazing. I was so happy to see so many friends and fiber enthusiasts that I don't get to see on a regular basis. And they all pretty much got to meet each other too. That was nice. Couple people missing, but that's okay. That's all right. That happens. That's life, right? Let's do it again next year and hope that even more people arrive. Or maybe we make some new connections and we'll get to visit with them then. Yesterday I have a very unique haul for my purchases. I made an $8 purchase yesterday, and that was it. I bought string, a length of twine. No, this is so much more than that. So I have a spinning wheel that I purchased locally from a garage sale. I purchased it, saw it posted on Facebook Marketplace that they were having a garage sale, and in the dark crevice of a cobwebby corner, I could see glimpses of her. And I went to go visit, and terribly affordable. Like, it was great-great-grandma's, and she lived far away, and they closed down her estate and brought a few pieces that they just couldn't part with. I'm so glad that my wheel didn't end up in the garbage or tossed to the side or something crazy like that. She made her way to me. And I need to make sure that her historical significance and her life is fulfilled. Like, I feel this pull to use this piece of equipment. Let me get her up here for you. Oh, well, that's not gonna work. I should insert some pictures. You want me to scoot your chair back a little bit? There we go. This is my spinning wheel. She is not traditional. There are not very many traditional pieces about her. Her ingenuity is following traditional concepts. I have deep dove into any little tidbit of information or familiarity that someone can give me. Yesterday at Lambtown, I actually spent a good chunk of quality time talking to a very, very well-known Clems and Clems. That's where all of our, excellent combing brushes are coming from. Our drum carders, he's making amazing drum carders. He restores and builds functional and furniture spinning wheels. This guy is just so full of information. You can tell, like, he's even picking through his brain on like what comes out of his mouth and what he's holding back for his storyline, for educational purposes, for conversational allure. Like, he's amazing to talk to. And then I did stop at a spinning tent that they have where they're just putting spinning wheel drop spindles in people's hands. They had some spinning wheels, some electronic wheels that are 3D printed. They had all kinds of examples set up of different ways to spin, and they were incredible too. Like, I've gotten so much information. The most valuable piece of advice that I received over the weekend is find a guild, join a guild. They have the time over a long period of time to put all these puzzle pieces together to get your spinning wheel fine-tuned. And I guess this isn't useful advice for someone that goes and buys a brand new wheel and it works gloriously right out of the box. But my wheel came from a religious community. It is a lot like the Amish, only it's of German origin. And the name is not coming to mind all of a sudden what the group name is. Here is the group name. So they believe in traditional German lifestyle. And they're here in the United States. They were here in the United States. And so they taught their young men to work with cabinetry, to work with wood, to work with metalworking, to work with from a pattern, a handwritten pattern that would be passed on and duplicated for purchasing and for daily use and lifestyle. There's a lot of welding techniques in her. There's an incredible amount of patience and fine-tuned detail. I mean, we use minimal amount of nails. Here is a wooden nail, a wooden spike, just to wedge the mother of all into the arms. There are some nails, but where possible, she's been assembled by hand, carved by hand. I talked to Henry at Clems and Clems, and he had a valuable piece of information on while she'll work very smooth, all of a sudden she'll start clumping like a limp horse. And I'm like, what happened? And, I just, yeah, okay, well, let's fine tune, let's tune like a sewing machine. You work for a while and then it gets out of adjustment and you just really got to start back at the beginning and rethread her, readjust her. When I first brought her home, I didn't know anything at all. I still don't know very much, but I didn't know anything at all. And she's a 2-drive band. She's one continuous rope that crosses, and it's attached to 2 different gears, 2 different wheels. Well, no, I guess it would be 3 different wheels. Dual. We're dual drive. A useful bit of information that I did not take into consideration when I'm working with tension and adjusting is that my ratio is off. We have got these 2 wheels, and according to Henry, which is extremely valuable on an engineering level, they need to be 3-to-1. Next challenge is figuring out what she actually is, but from the pictures, he could tell that might be a real tension problem. So tidbits of information that leads me further into this journey with her. I keep calling her. I just get that feeling from this piece. So he also pointed out that these were not mass produced. They were young journeymen just starting their adventure in woodworking and cabinetry and all these skills that were involved in making this wheel. He said not all of them were masterfully made. Some of them are excellent furniture pieces, which are just very beautiful to look at. And yes, they are for historical interest, for hobby interest, that sort of thing. It can be workable. There is some modifications that we need to make so that we're fully workable. She's worth it. So in reading about this group, I've learned that it was older generations teaching younger generations the German ways. And there were school teachers along the way to guide the young adults in creating their tool. And then in their family unit, the youngers were applying the tool. So young men were learning these skills on how to make the wheel. The young ladies were then learning how to process wool, which is a whole nother segment of their stability, is raising sheep, growing flax. And that was an interesting concept too. When I bought the wheel, I assumed I'm making yarn and I'm thinking all the different kinds of wools and everything else. She could have been a flax wheel. Technically, I can start growing flax now, and by the time I figure this lady out, we might be spinning flax. I don't know. But I did meet a very interesting flax weaver at the yarn crawl, so that was fascinating too. I do have her card. I met her before Henry told me that my wheel could be for flax. Jumping way ahead of myself. I made an $8 purchase to reline my cord. When I first brought her home, she had some clothesline, you know, that big thick cotton clothesline, and she had 2 separate bands on her, and it's supposed to be one continuous. It is supposed to be minimal and thin, so with the momentum gets going on this spinning wheel, that she's slowly drafting and pulling in fiber into the orifice. I'm learning terms, right? So, you know, we've got a long way to go, but Henry did suggest that the small, so I've been using Aunt Lydia's embroidery thread. So I've gone from bulky, I've moved all the way down to a thin band. I've tried waxing my thread. Henry said, don't do that. Her ratio of where she is now, she's a very slow moving, which is excellent for learning, but wax will slow her down even more, and then you're just to a standstill. So just tons of just terminology and useful information that I tried to retain as much as possible. This is where your fluffy sheep is getting sucked into that little hole and coming around out of this hole and going along these loops and spinning up onto this spool. So these are the 2 wheels that are too close together. This was made too close together. And there's not a whole lot of room. I can back this wheel off. It's threaded. I could back it off to make some distance on there. And it is counter spun on there, which when I first brought her home, I was like, I'm gonna force it. No, don't force your old pieces. Maybe take a really good observation and see what's going on. So it's actually backward. And I can spin that off a bit and try to separate these 2. But ultimately, the grooves that are in these wheels are V grooves, which I learned there's a flat groove and there's a V groove. V groove is ideal. You can work if you got a flat, but ideal is a V groove. So they do have that. So the distance between the depth of that V and the depth of this V needs to be 3 to 1. So ideally, he said, to make it simple, you want 3 inches on the big one and 1/3 on the small one. I also got the name and email address of Bobbin Boy. Bobbin Boy creates these bobbins, which may or may not be a standard size because, again, it was made by a young adult that was learning trade. So I may need to buy a little rubber washer to put between these and give that a try. The band, the twine the string. I went to Yarntown Festival. I bought string. No. So I've been trying embroidery thread and all kinds of different stuff. Slowing it down. It's speeding it up. It's not quite right. But we have thread. This is 10 weight. I've done fashion 3. I've gone all the way down to Lydia's 30. And then I even tried chain stitching the 30 to give it an in between a 30 and a 20, to make the difference between a 10 and a 3. This is a learning process. This is a slow hobby. This is slow fashion, okay? We're taking it from sheep to eventually someday fashion. I feel like I'm all over the place. That's my wheel. I bought some string. I had an amazing weekend. I can hear Sadie crunching on something over there back behind you where I can't see. Please hold. Okay. Crisis averted. Sadie's gonna be 1 year old in a couple of days, so I noticed she's starting to chew on some stuff. It might be some 1-year-old temper tantrum, molars. I don't know. We're fine. So what did I work on? Okay, so I showed you the cardigan before I started the grand adventure that Sarah and I have been working on together. We're making 2 different sizes. We got 2 different size yarn, weights of yarn, 2 different concepts going on, but we're doing it together. We're doing the same pattern. The ballerina cardigan. That one. Ooh. So I'm using yarn that I will not be able to find anymore. I don't know if it's discontinued, but I won't be able to find any more of it. I need to work within my means. So last time I showed you, I was working on the body. I had decided I was at a good spot to stop the body, work my sleeves, and then come back to the body after, because I need to have enough for both of the sleeves, and then the length is kind of playable, right? It could be a natural waistline. It could be a crop top that I wear with dresses. It could have been a really long, flowy duster, right? So I stopped on the length, which does hit me in a nice little empire waist, a little above the natural waistline. So I finished the sleeve. It is a very generous sleeve. I love it. I have larger arms, so it is very comfortable, very billowy. It comes down to just past the crease in my elbow. It comes down to right about here. And then I did 2 rows of ribbing with my unicorn, which is also on the collar. Did 2 rows of the front post, back post ribbing. And then I did 1 more single crochet of the blue cotton just to finish it off and give me a clean, nice clean edge. And done. So I finished that. And then I took notes as I went. So I did 13 rows. I did a decrease row. I did 4 rows. I did a decrease row. I did 2 rows and then the ribbing. Yeah. I wrote it down. I wrote my ingredients and my formula down so that I could duplicate it on the other arm. I don't want to have one like nice tight arm and the other one's like poof mellow. No. Wrote it down. So now I am working on the 13 rows, which I think I'm just about there. I won't count. I'll spare you the count. I think I'm just about 13 rows. And my next row will be the first decrease. So I work 5 stitches, decrease in the 6th. And these are all double crochets. So it's working up very fast. On the decrease. Now I will use up the rest of my active ball and tie on the second. So each of the sleeves used 1.5. So 1.5. I'm using the half, and no, I used a full one. Now I have the second half. I'll tie on the second half. And then for working on the length, I have 6 more balls. So I'm gonna have a really nice, you know, goes down past my hips. I'm gonna have a nice long cardigan, and it's that cotton, and it's marvelous. This is going to Lambtown. I'm wearing this one to Fashion Week next year. Fashion weekend next year. And I have plenty of the unicorn to do the ribbing on the bottom side. So I got second sleeve ribbing to do, but plenty. So I have beautiful unicorn cameo bead buttons to use on this cardigan. There were two only, that's the only thing they sold, button vendors at Lambtown. One lady specialized in glass beads and buttons, but her buttons, oh my goodness. She has a technique of rolling them in different grit size to give that sea glass look. Oh, I had to really control myself in there. Oh, they're absolutely gorgeous. I got her card. So the next time I start a project and I need beautiful glass buttons, oh, she's my girl. And then the other one was called Tin Thimble, the Tin Thimble. Oh, they had such creative ways of displaying their buttons. I don't know how their buttons come, but they use playing cards. And then they'll put the buttons in the back of those, or they'll use labels off of canned foods, and they'll fold the labels and they'll display the labels through there. And what was amazing and so mentally satisfying was that the Tin Thimble displayed, so they had a double wide tent that you walk into. So the outside had 3 panels, and in and an out, 1, 2, 3 panels across the front. And then when you go in, each wall is segmented out. Each section of the tent was a different color. Oh man, oh, it was fantastic. I could just imagine when they arrive or when they go home, they probably have like totes or organizations so that all their colors stay together for easy setup. I can't imagine that that's easy setup. Millions and thousands and millions of button cards to hang on these walls, on these wire paneled walls. It was incredible, absolutely incredible. And they had like fabric gypsy flag kind of ribbons and stuff hanging, and in the far corner by their cash register side, they are playing around with botanical plants, flowers, fibers, botanical dyeing on silk and cottons. And it's just amazing that you can take a flower print and put it on fabric. There's so much more to that process, I'm sure, but then have that relief print of what you did. Oh, that sounds amazing. I looked into it, didn't dive too deep into it. I had spinning wheel facts on my mind. Beautiful little button tent. I'll definitely keep them in mind when I'm starting another project. And I did kind of rummage through just a little bit to see if there was a unicorn button that I could use for a statement piece at the beginning of my cardigan, and then use my cameos going down. But my cameos are so absolutely adorable that it would just get too diluted with just too many details. This sweater's got so much going for it. It need to focus on getting it done. But Sarah left this morning. She had to go home. She had to head back to Southern California. She's flying down I-5 right now. If you see her, give her a honk and a wave. Safe travels, Sarah. Thank you so much for coming. I really enjoyed spending time with you this weekend. So this beautiful garment is going back in the bag. with my yarn and my hook. Uh-oh. We can't be losing our 4mm hook. And my hook. I love these Daiso hooks. I know I've told you before. Friends, I love this hook. It's got a triangular shape to it, a big flat piece, and then this triangular ridge, and it just, that's nice. So we're gonna put it all in the Ziploc bag. I'm gonna tuck it over there by the yarn cellar as a reminder that I need to visit more with Sarah, because we only work on this together, or we designate a segment when we part, and then we continue on till we get to that point, and we put it away and we wait for the other. So Sarah added a body stripe to hers. You know what? Maybe she'll let me take pictures of it next time we get together, just so you could see, like, you know, where we're at. She did a body striping in hers, and I believe after her body striping, she's going to start her sleeves. So I'm going to wait, not going to finish my sleeve. I'm going to wait, let her get going on her sleeves. And then next time we meet up together, we can do some stitching together. I feel like I made some pretty good progress. It looks like a sweater now. You know, when you start a project and you're like, this could go either way. This could either get ripped out, forgotten, or it stays hot on the hook and I finish it up, right? Fun. What do I have next? Lara over at Mad Mimi's Crochet and Farming has a name project going on. It is called Work Your Name. No, she doesn't say crochet. Crochet Your Name. Come on, tell me what I'm thinking. Oh, you're supposed to find a pattern with the pattern is named after you. Correct spelling, no nicknames, no last names, just your first name. Find a pattern title with your name. And it's fun conversations. I'm Amy, A-M-I-E, which is very close to amigurumi. So I should be able to find anything amigurumi, right? Amy Gurumi. I found a pattern. I think I've shared it with you before. It's Amy. It is a tutorial, Ravelry, and Etsy pattern written out. But the tutorial is perfectly fun to understand. It's basic doll concepts. There's some clothes. There's some fun hair. You saw I picked up some beautiful purple hair. Beautiful purple hair. I'm going to go for it. It's very candy-esque. Just a sweet little pattern. So I need to do that. It is already, the first week of October is just flying by. It's an October project, so we have till the end of October, but I don't want to sit around and wait. I've got some fun stuff to tinker with. And you know what? This room is a mess. It's a crafty little mess. It truly is. I'm looking over that direction, and I've got, once stuff starts stacking up, things aren't flowing along very well. I don't like the stacked up stuff. I like having projects, you know, out and laid out and seen. Messy's okay, but once I start stacking stuff up, the bottom of the pile just doesn't get the attention that it needs. So I need to spend some time in my room organizing and cleaning up. I don't want to do that. I think I'm gonna go get my skin tone and go sit in the living room and work on my candy girl. Thank you for visiting with me. I love spending time talking yarn and fiber, and I really appreciate the feedback and the conversation, and just even when I'm sitting and crocheting, I'm watching all the videos. And, you know, even though my hands are busy, I might not like do the whole lengthy conversation, like comments, but I at least got to put like a little stamp on it, a little emoji or a little something like, hey, I'm here. I'm enjoying your content too. Thank you. I'm gonna go do stuff. See you tomorrow. Visit tomorrow. Doing pretty good on the 31 days. I'm already a couple days in. I'll see you soon. Bye.